Today's programme is about second-time students. More and more people are going back to college when they are older to improve and upgrade their qualifications. What are their reasons? What are their purposes and ambitions? What kind of qualifications are they interested in? We meet someone who returned to education and built a new life for herself while helping others. And Meet a Man remembers his early days. What does the future hold for him? Everyday English. Today, Kathy Mitchell-Hewson has a job as a classroom assistant in a nursery school. She returned to college and worked hard to achieve this position. Going back to college revealed a problem she hadn't known about before. Kathy was dyslexic.
I left school at the age of 16 with 3 GCSEs. A year ago I returned to the college because I wanted to become a qualified classroom assistant. As a parent, I've been helping out in the classroom for several years on a voluntary basis. I'd also worked as a lollipop lady. I'd always enjoyed working with children, and I decided that I wanted to do this work as a career.
Bob Fage had his reasons for returning to college.
I'm afraid that school just didn't work for me. I left when I was 15 with no qualifications at all. I got a job and worked my way up through the travel industry. I'm 47 now, and last year I returned to college because I wanted to study for A-levels. I had been running my own shop for several years, selling antique toys. I found that being in business was very stressful. I had always enjoyed reading a lot, and I decided that I wanted to study law.
I passed my exams. I'm now doing the work I love, and I'm getting paid for doing it.
I got my A-levels last year, and now I'm going to study law at Sussex University. It's one of the best universities in the country.
A helping hand. Now, let's look at some of that again. First, talking about reasons.
A year ago I returned to the college because I wanted to become a qualified classroom assistant.
I returned to college because I wanted to become a qualified classroom assistant.
And last year I returned to college because I wanted to study for A-levels.
Last year, I returned to college because I wanted to study for A-levels. Next, talking about your past before you returned to college. Use the past perfect or past perfect continuous tense with had.
As a parent, I've been helping out in the classroom for several years on a voluntary basis.
I had been helping out in the classroom for several years. On a voluntary basis means that she was not paid to do it.
I'd also worked as a lollipop lady.
I had also worked as a lollipop lady.
I had been running my own shop for several years.
I had been running my own shop for several years. Kathy talks about her interests using the past perfect tense.
I'd always enjoyed working with children.
I had always enjoyed working with children. And she explains her decision using a that clause.
And I decided that I wanted to do this work as a career.
And I decided that I wanted to do this work as a career.
Hold on. So you can do it. Look.
I had always enjoyed reading a lot.
I had always enjoyed reading a lot.
And I decided that I wanted to study law.
And I decided that I wanted to study law.
I'm now doing the work I love, and I'm getting paid for doing it. Hanging like a monkey.
Now Kathy is doing the work she loves, and she's paid to do it now.
Put your feet through.
and now I'm going to study law at Sussex University. It's one of the best universities in the country.
And Bob is going to study law at Sussex University, one of the best universities in the country. Specialised English. These three people decided to take a second chance when they returned to college.
I'm doing a course in tourism, Service Industries Management Tourism to give it its full name. I'm doing the course so as to be able to work in tourism in this part of the country.
I'm doing a course in business studies, and this is my second year. I'm doing the course firstly in order to improve my knowledge of business, and secondly so as to learn the vocabulary of modern business and information technology. I'm hoping to do a TEFL course, that's teaching English as a foreign language, so that I can teach English to students of business.
I'm doing a university degree course in media studies. I had started a degree some years ago, but had to leave when I had my son. I'm doing this course in order to complete my degree.
A helping hand.
Use the TEFL experience.
First, what courses did they decide to do and why?
Design a course of study for my future students.
This afternoon we're having a look through the local papers and we actually...
Talking about purpose using in order to, so as to and so that.
I'm doing a course in business studies.
I'm doing a course in business studies.
I'm doing the course firstly in order to improve my knowledge of business.
I'm doing the course firstly in order to improve my knowledge of business.
And secondly, so as to learn the vocabulary of modern business and information technology.
And secondly, so as to learn the vocabulary of modern business and information technology.
What would you do in the project?
I'm hoping to do a TEFL course, that's teaching English as a foreign language, so that I can teach English to students of business.
I'm hoping to do a TEFL course. That's teaching English as a foreign language, so that I can teach English to students of business.
I'm doing a university degree course in media studies.
I'm doing a university degree course in media studies.
I'm doing this course in order to complete my degree.
I'm doing this course in order to complete my degree.
Including a rundown on school dinners.
I'm doing a course in tourism.
I'm doing a course in tourism.
I'm doing the course so as to be able to work in tourism in this part of the country.
I'm doing this course so as to be able to work in tourism in this part of the country.
I left school with GCSEs and A-levels. I then trained as a textile designer and worked in an art college for several years. I married and had children. Before returning to college, I had been looking after the family, but I had continued to work part-time as well. I'm hoping to get my HND, that's a Higher National Diploma, in tourism this year. I may go on to do an extra year, which will give me a university degree at a later date.
I left school with 5 GCSEs, then I went to art school and studied art. Before I started this course in business studies, I had been teaching English in Spain. I'm hoping to get my HND in business studies next summer, then I'm planning to do a teaching diploma. Eventually, I would like to teach business English to students in a developing country.
I left school with 6 GCSEs and went to college. As I said before, I had to leave college to have my son. Before starting back in education, I had been working for a publishing company in London. I am now in the second year of my course. I hope to get my degree at the end of my third year.
Next, talking about qualifications.
I left school with GCSEs and A-levels.
I left school with GCSEs and A-levels. GCSE stands for General Certificate of Secondary Education. A level means advanced level, taken usually at the age of 18. And what qualifications are they hoping to get?
I'm hoping to get my HND in Business Studies next summer.
Michael is hoping to get his HND in Business Studies.
I hope to get my degree at the end of my third year.
Jo hopes to get her degree at the end of her third year.
I'm hoping to get my HND, that's a higher national diploma, in tourism this year.
Jane is hoping to get her HND in tourism.
Let's get this wrong. Ik heist Jane.
Welkom Sie.
On this course, we learn about the business side of tourism, as well as the other aspects. We learn computing skills, we practice giving presentations, and we learn how to dress for the part, how to present ourselves. We also have the opportunity to study foreign languages. I enjoy the course because it is so completely different from what I've done before. For me, it really is a second chance, and I love it.
On this course, we learn how to develop our skills as part of a group. We practice doing individual project work. I find it useful because I'm learning about modern teaching methods, and I'm enjoying it because I've gained a lot more confidence in my own abilities.
On this course, we learn all about journalism and the media. We learn how to write newspaper articles, and we practice making radio programmes and short films. I find it very useful because we learn both academic and practical skills. I'm enjoying the course because I've made new friends, and it's such fun.
Listen to the students as they talk about their courses, with learn how to and practice.
On this course, we learn how to develop our skills as part of a group.
We learn how to develop our skills as part of a group.
We learn how to write newspaper articles.
We learn how to write newspaper articles.
And we practice making radio programmes and short films.
We practice making radio programmes and short films.
Welcome to West Kent College Radio.
We practice giving presentations.
We practice giving presentations. Are they enjoying their courses? And why?
And I'm enjoying it because I've gained a lot more confidence in my own abilities.
Michael is enjoying it because he has gained a lot more confidence in his own abilities.
I'm enjoying the course because I've made new friends, and it's such fun.
Jo is enjoying it because she has made new friends. And she's having fun.
For Tunbridge School. Kathleen McGovern and Jim Dawson, both of Tunbridge, are studying at the Patisserie.
I enjoy the course because it is so completely different from what I've done before. For me, it really is a second chance.
Jane is enjoying the course because it is so different from what she has done before. A personal view. Margaret McIntyre has had to fight against misfortune in her life. The story starts with her experiences at school.
I was born into a middle-class family. I was the fourth child attending school, and we had an examination at the age of 11 to determine what school we would attend after that. Unfortunately, I failed this exam, and I was sent to what in those days was classed as a second-class school.
When she grew up, Margaret married, but it was an unhappy marriage, and Margaret separated from her husband. She had 2 children and no money.
15 years ago, I was in a position that I was homeless with 2 children, and we acquired a house, but with no contents, no furniture, nothing. They went to school, I worked, and I would say they were very, very happy years. There was no pressure because I told them what happened to me. And when they were 11, they had the choice whether to take an exam. Both decided they would not. and they went to a comprehensive school where there was no pressure at all put on them. And they both did exceptionally well and were happy to do it for themselves, not for me or the family, just for themselves. Well, my son Martin, he left school after his A-levels and he went to Maidstone College for 1 year to do a BTEC Art Foundation course. And a week ago he started at Brighton University to do his BA in art. And my daughter left school and went to Nottingham University to do genetics. She left there in June with a first, and she's now at Oxford, Keble College, to do her PhD.
Margaret was delighted with the success of her 2 children. This was one of the reasons why she decided to return to education for a second chance. She had been working in a hospital and she decided to do a course in caring for elderly people.
I wanted to learn more about the elderly, and by saying it, through them and through seeing something in the paper about an open evening at the college, I was encouraged to go along and have a look. I found the initial start very hard because you had to concentrate, and I was a little bit older than some of them in the classroom, and I felt it difficult to come home, retain the knowledge, and then do an assignment, fitting in with the children and going to work at the same time.
Margaret had 3 tutors on her course. One of them was Angela Spark, tutor in adult health and social care.
Many of the students on this course do return to college for further study, either to widen their scope of knowledge of older people or indeed to deepen their educational background. My memory is that Margaret had quite a difficult start, and after a few weeks became enthusiastic, gained confidence in herself, and began to demonstrate very different attitudes to study and much, much more confidence.
The course helped Margaret in many ways. Improving her self-esteem, her image of herself, was an important part of it.
I ended up having a higher self-image, and I felt I had more worthiness than I had before I started the course.
This was a new start for Margaret. When her course finished, she started a voluntary group. She called it Community Link, a group which cares for carers. Carers are people who spend much of their time looking after the elderly and infirm in their own homes.
This is a younger person, but we haven't got any history here of why she was caring for Auntie.
No.
Maybe she's got no parents.
No. One of the elderly people she regularly cares for is Reg.
Hello, Reg. Hello. It's Margaret.
Reg's wife usually cares for him.
How are you?
But Margaret takes over for a few hours each week to give Reg's wife a break.
I've changed? Why have I changed?
Getting older.
Oh, thanks. What's old about me? Well, we provide a service that gives carers time off, and we take over the role of the carer. Reg is quite a funny man because he was a champion chess player, and although he supposedly grown frailer and frailer, I'm not up to his standard with chess. I think if you've been a champion at chess, then drafts is a little bit inferior game, and he certainly can beat me.
Go that way?
We're there not to intrude, because we have to respect it is Reg's home, not ours. But we're there to help him with whatever he wants to do. Right, Helen, I'd like to introduce you to Don
The office of Community Link is at the local hospital. Here, Margaret interviews new volunteers, people who want to give up some of their free time to help carers.
Volunteers. You're then asked, and you'll probably be asked by Don, to see him and say how you felt. Was there any problems? Did you relate to that person?
Margaret has 40 volunteers on her books, and Community Link is getting stronger all the time. Margaret has come a long way from that unhappy child who failed her examination at the age of 11.
People who find the courage to come back to education as mature adults, many of them gain self-confidence, begin to believe in themselves, are able to wipe out bad memories of learning from childhood and to become fresh new people. It's very exciting working with adults who return to learning and very rewarding work.
I think it doesn't matter who the individual person is, they deserve a second chance in life.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. Young people these days, they just don't take life seriously. Most of them don't even know what they want to do with their lives. Oi, you! What's your ambition? What do you want to do in your lives?
Maybe I could be, well, you know, I could sort of, you know.
You see what I mean? Now, when I was a nipper, when I was knee-high to a grasshopper, that's one of our little sayings, knee-high to a grasshopper, I knew exactly what I wanted to be. Oh, yes.
Here we are. Oh, yes. Even when I was a baby in my pushchair, I knew what I wanted. And my dear old mother, she used to give it to me. And some of my electrical experiments were quite shocking, especially to my mother.
Do it, you wretched boy! You trying to blow us all to smithereens? That's one of my little sayings, blow us all to smithereens.
I think I acquired my love of little sayings from my dear, sweet mother.
Let that be a lesson to you!
Bless her. I used to play hopscotch along the pavements. And then, one day, I found my inspiration. Oh yes, I knew that when I grew up, I would be a meter man. I left school at 16.
A big hand please for meter man.
With not very many qualifications. I then trained for a year, and it was my mother's proudest day when I, her only son, received the Certificate of Merit and became a fully qualified meter man. I'd been hard at work for a very few weeks when there came another milestone in my life, the day I took possession of Molly, my van.
Thank you very much. Much obliged to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As with any intimate relationship, Molly and I have had our ups and downs, but on the whole, it's been a smooth ride. But enough of these daydreams. I must get on with my work and read the meter.
The new technologies are developing more rapidly than we think. Change is taking place faster than ever before. You train for a job, 5 years later you have to retrain. Why? Because technologies are changing all the time.
Excuse me, do you know where the meter is?
Down the corridor on the right.
Thank you very much.
Take him, for example, a reader of meters. In 2 years, he'll be like the dinosaur, extinct. Technology means that the electricity meters will disappear. Electricity consumption will be registered by advanced computer technology. And what does that mean? For one thing, it means that poor chap will have to retrain. That poor chap will have to retrain. That chap will have to retrain.
Me? Retrain? At my age? Is this my reward for years of loyal service? Maybe there is something in this retraining. An expert like me could become an influential and respected businessman.
But Prime Minister, tell them I already own that country.
A force to be reckoned with in the financial centres of the world. For someone of my experience, the sky is the limit. That's one of our little sayings. The sky is the limit.
Julie,
Yes, sir.
I think it's time for my cup of tea, isn't it?
Right away, sir.
But to be practical, and above all I am a practical man, I have to start somewhere. And what better place to start than here? A college for adult education. This is where I begin. Today, meet a man. Tomorrow, who knows? Good morning, my dear young lady.
Use your eyes when you are out and about. Every country and region has its system of adult education. Everyone deserves a second chance. It could be the start of a new career. The financial question may be a problem. In Europe, there are schemes which give financial help so that university students from one country can go and study in another. Perhaps the Erasmus, Socrates and Leonardo da Vinci programs can help you. This is the last in this series of programs. You will find all the usual grammar, exercises and vocabulary in your student's book. But why not use your eyes to look at some of the programs again? We have shown you something of the British way of life in one region of the country. And on the way, you have learned more about the structures and patterns of the English language. We hope you have found it enjoyable and helpful riding the train with Fast Track English.